we're just going to go to that side. We're going to go run behind you guys, and we're going to try to basically play a ball control game against the Buccaneers. I just look overall like that. That's where the game has to be. The game has to be won.
Playoff Monday here on Birds 365. That's right. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to the playoffs. It's a good thing. And I didn't see it coming. I didn't think they were a playoff team. I thought they were close to a 500 team. They're an above 500 team that are going to the playoffs. We're going to talk about that and also what happened Saturday night down at the Link with our next guest. He's been good enough to become a quasi-regular here with us on Birds 365. Chris Franklin from NJ.com. Chris, I want to start on a positive note. How easy was it for you to get out of Lincoln Financial Field on Saturday night? Because most smart mind Eagle fans got out of there mid-third quarter.
Well, after that was one of the easiest, even to the game, that was one of the easiest drives I made in, because I have a little back way that I'm not going to share because I want to keep it that quiet. But going in and out, like, it was even fast for that. I mean, something that drive that usually comes from Delaware usually took about 35 minutes. It took me about maybe 5, maybe there's an 8 on the speedometer. I don't know, maybe not, but yeah.
And the Flyers were playing as well. I don't know how late you went, Chris, but yeah, there were some. There's always some. I think it's funny that was the last regular season game, presumably the last game.
Oh,
no, it is. The Eagles
they're
are
the
7th
seed. They're not the 6th seed. They
They're
can't
not the
possibly host the playoff game.
So we're done. It's interesting. I always say that week 1 is the worst, the home opener, because nobody knows which parking lot they could go to. But even by the last game, people still don't know. They can't go to certain parking lots, but that's inside baseball. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and 50 burger to the Dallas Cowboys. What does it mean, if anything? I did sense some Nick Sirianni frustration, at least a little bit. I think he's a competitive guy. Wasn't happy at times with Mike McCarthy. Wasn't happy with the COVID questions. Is this all forgotten about quickly with Tampa Bay on the horizon?
There was a game Saturday night. Oh wait, yeah, it was. Sorry, I'm at that point right now. I think a lot of times I think if anything, I'd probably worry about more towards that second half, like the development of some of those third string guys, second string guys. But even then, you're still playing against the starters that the Cowboys had out there. So I wouldn't take too much away from it. I think overall, though, I think some of those guys, I mean, you may have to see like Andre Seychelles have to come out there and give a blow just in case there's injuries in a safety position or a nickel corner or something like that. But so I'd be a little worried. Hopefully he gets things right if I'm the Eagles. But overall, I think it was just a glorified exhibition game that the Cowboys decided to play their starters for most of the time. But just to steal a word from Belichick, I think Sirianni's going. They're on to Tampa.
On to Tampa.
On to the Buccaneers. Will he be better against the Buccaneers because of all of the extra reps that Jalen Reagor got this week? A lot of reps for Jalen.
Jalen's off the hook because of JJ.
I think I thought it was interesting they used him a lot at running back. I mean, you still had Huntley there, and you still had Kenneth Gainwell, but I thought it was interesting they used him. I know they're trying to get the ball into his hands and try to get some positivity.
So they can make Jalen Reagor a running back, but they can't make Kenneth Gainwell a wide receiver. Come on, what the hell?
It's crazy because you see Gainwell practicing with the wide receivers a lot when you go look when they're in the Indy period.
About that,
and you're like, wait a minute, why can't he, like, you see it more line up in the slot movement more? I don't know if they're trying to make him like a regular Cordell Patterson type where he can play both positions, but other than that, I think they're just trying to find some way to get light a spark in them because they desperately need a third option to emerge somewhere.
I don't know if it's going to emerge, but as I said, with the one guy who is looking like, and again, Jalen Reagor might have sent J.J. Arcega-Whiteside a thank you card. That was one of the worst attempts at a bag. By the way, a nice throw by Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Little Aaron Rodgers like putting it right back shoulder. Only the receiver can get it. And J.J. Arcega-Whiteside looked like he never caught a football in his life. What this kid was a good player at Stanford. What happened, Chris Franklin?
I wonder
Is it just confidence?
that's what I think is it because once to steal the line from replacements, I think it was a quicksand thing where one thing went wrong early on in his rookie season and just snowballed. And he felt like he had the press, and so he kept going on and on, trying to prove that he deserved a second round tag. And hearing it, and as much as the guys say like, "Hey, you know what? We block it out." Some of the stuff seeps in. They still hear some of the stuff, so he starts to see all that stuff, and he sees that Metcalf doing well, and it starts to get bad. I mean, who would have thought? To me, it looks like he's a better at tight end at this point now, and I don't
You
think they
need
should
a
put him
tight
there.
end too, by the way.
Yeah,
We got to talk about that.
yeah.
Tyree Jackson going down with the torn ACL, which in theory you say, okay, it's your third tight end, but the Eagles have been using 13 personnel quite a bit over the past month or so before the Cowboys game. It became a staple of their offense. They still have Richard Rodgers, Noah Tagai as well, but when you look forward, they're going to run the football. They're going to try to run the football against Vita Vea and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How much is this going to? They've been able to run the football against everybody. Oh, by the way, including Dallas with Jack Anderson and Suo Peta and Andre Dillard and Brett Toth and on and on and on. They still had 149 yards rushing. How much does a loss like that affect them, if at all?
I think when it comes, to me personally, I think it might do a little better. I know Tyree Jackson, he has a lot of potential. You see the size, you see everything that's right there. But to me, especially when they run this 13 personnel, they run the ball out 67% of the time. And that's from a sharp football analysis. They run the ball out that formation 67% of the time. Jackson's not the best blocker as of right now. He's improved a lot from what we initially saw in that one too, but he's still it looked like even back toward in the Washington game and sometimes in the Cowboys game, they would put Rodgers in when they came on the running downs and put Jackson back in on the passing downs. So I think if that's truly what they're going to do more often, I think having Richard Rodgers, a guy who has playoff experience, a guy who's been around this area, who knows what it takes to win a playoff game, I think that's going to be a better fit for them in the long run, at least in the playoff run, at least anyway.
All right. The Eagles gave great majority of their starters a bye week in week 18 to get physically ready and prep for the upcoming playoffs. I want to ask you about one specific position. How much elevation will this mean to their defensive ends? Because Tom Brady's pretty damn good at getting rid of that football. It's not going to be a sack-filled game with the Eagles, but can they at least make him move, make him hurry, get their hands up? What do you think a week off means to Barnett and Sweat?
I think especially when it comes to Barnett, because his history, he gets nicked up over time, and to add the extra game, I think it helps out Barnett a lot more. Sweat. The one thing I want to see, especially you mentioned this when it comes to Brady, is to get the defensive line to get their hands up and get into the passing lanes, because you're not going, like you mentioned, you're not going to get there and unless and hope the Eagles are going to have to hope that Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox get that pressure up the middle to get Brady off that spot and to move him a little bit more to the left or right, which plays into the hands of the defensive ends. They have to, and they're not going to get the sacks. Get the hands up and affect the passing lanes. Make it tough for him to feel comfortable in that pocket and move around, because they're probably going to have to go underneath. They don't have Antonio Brown anymore. They don't have Chris Godwin anymore. They're probably going to just play a lot more horizontal football, trying to get it to Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, and O.J. Howard. So this is where your defensive ends are going to have to get their hands up. They're going to at least get more. This is a game where you're actually okay with them getting hurries, because you're not going to get the sacks there.
No, you never get the sacks against Tom Brady. But I want to, Jody's been yelling at me because I'm going to throw this at you, Chris.
Oh, great. Thanks.
I think the Bucs are a better matchup than the Dallas Cowboys for the Eagles. Not that they're a great matchup, just a better matchup, because I don't think they match up at all against the Dallas Cowboys right now. But one part where in theory isn't a great matchup is I don't think there is a better run stuffer in football than Vita Vea, who just got the big extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can't move them. So the typical Jason Kelsey getting to the second, even the third level probably isn't happening this week. So you might have to do things a different way as far as the running game goes. But the Eagles have done this against the top running defenses, rushing run support defenses in the NFL. Can they run the ball against Vita Vea? Or am I making too much out of that because he's just one person?
No, it's going to be tough to run up the middle. I think they're going averaging like 2 point. He's on when he's in there, or just overall against the Bucs. He got 2.3 yards in that per carry up in the middle of the field, or the middle of the defensive line. So you also have Ndamukong Suh too. So you have it's tough to do stuff in the middle there. I mean, the only thing, you can't abandon it. You have to make them honor that. You have to at least attempt to run there a few times to keep them on their toes. But even if you do traps and some stuff like that, but I think your best play, if I'm the Eagles, is if you attack the edges against these defensive ends. And especially the Bucs defense has had issues when it comes to stopping the run on the right side of their defensive line, which would be the Eagles' left side, which is their strength. I think they're giving up something like 7 yards a carry on that side when they're running that. So when you look at this offensive line between Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata on that left side, they can have a lot of success. And they can basically, what they're going to have to do is, you run the ball up there a couple of times, but you're going to do a lot of powers, a lot of that. Just say, hey, you know what? We're just going to go that side. We're going to go run behind you guys, and we're going to try to basically play a ball control game against the Buccaneers.
All right, Chris, Franklin, and John, you can hop in here too, but Chris first. How are they going to stop Rob Gronkowski?
You may have to do a bracket. I think what I would do is put a bracket, putting a safety on top of, double team him by putting a safety on top of him and having somebody play man-to-man underneath. What I think they're going to do, I think they're going to play a lot of zone. So I think we're going to see a lot of the early year Jonathan Gannon philosophy here, where they play a lot of zone, try to keep everything in front of them, and try to hold the Buccaneers to field goals as opposed to trying to get beat deep. And it's a tough ask. It's a very, very tough ask. Personally, I'd chip every chance I would get. I'm basically going to be physical and try to make them think, hey, you know what? You're going to try to come off the line. I'm going to throw a defensive end when you try to get off your route. I'm going to have a defensive end chip you. I'm going to have a linebacker mess with you within that 5 yards to basically make it tough and wear them down over time. But good luck trying to do it. I'm pretty sure a lot of defensive coordinators have done that way, way before then. But I think the best what I would do is play a lot of bracket, but I think they're going to play a lot of zone, and it's going to be one of those games where you're looking like, why can't they just stop it? Why don't they throw more blitzes? But they're letting the Bucs get 6, 7, 8 yards a pop, but basically trying to hold them to a field goal.
All right, I'm going to get back to the Bucs here, Chris, but I do want to mention we got a first surprise on Monday in Brian Flores out in Miami. Fired by the Miami Dolphins. That surprised me. Yeah, we always get one surprise. That to me is the biggest surprise.
And I heard this last night. Give it whatever weight you think. Stephen Ross friendly with Jim Harbaugh. That he's got a relationship.
He is a Michigan guy. Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Wow.
I we're talking coaching. Do you think Mike Zimmer's out? That's official. Rick Spielman's out. In Chicago, Matt Nagy's out. Ryan Pace is out. Now we have Brian Flores out. Jody just mentioned the connection there with John Harbaugh. You think anybody?
Johnny's our buddy down in Baltimore. Jim might be up for the job in Miami.
Yeah, Jim. Sorry. Always get the Harbaughs mixed up.
We both.
You think anybody? Now we know general manager jobs. We've seen Brandon Brown, Ian Cunningham, Catherine Raish now as VP of football ops, the GM factory, and then the coaches, Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen. You think anybody from the Eagles gets an interview in this cycle, Chris Franklin?
You may get one. I think you may get one Gannon one, and I can see that being more of you bring him in and see what he's like. Maybe try to get a couple things what he does scheme wise when you bring him in and go, oh yeah, we want to bring you for an interview. So
he
how do you do
anything scheme wise? I'm told by Eagles fans constantly. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I can get that point sometimes, but yeah, I can see one of those things coming in where I go, oh, how do you think the demeanor? I think he'll be one of the names brought in, maybe as a favor from an agent or something like that. But I think more next year when he gets more of his guys in here and gets to his system and they do well again, then I think that's when he truly gets his shot. The other, I'm shocked. To me personally, I wouldn't be like, and this is all speculative. None of that. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm shocked that none of these guys got interviewed for a college job, such as like say a Brian Johnson, such as Jamal Singleton, guys like that who had success at the college level, whether it be playing or just being around there. I'm shocked they didn't get at least a sniff from the college. Maybe they did, and they say that now I'm happy in the NFL. But those are, I think, more next year. If this team has success again, they do on par or even better. I think that's when you start to see
How about if they
these names
upset the
popping up.
reigning Super Bowl champions? It could
Oh,
happen.
if they have a game where Brady gets sacked like 5-6 times and Mike Evans is held to like 20-30 yards, something like that, and I think Anna's phone might be going off a little bit. Other than that,
let me see. I'll take the under on sacks and the over on Mike Evans' yardage at 25. Just saying, you're right. You're right about setting those numbers. That would get Gannon to the top of the list.
Yep.
Good luck getting either one of those coaches. All right. Yeah, they got to go down to Tampa. Yeah, they got to take on the Bucs. They are the defending champions. They do have some injury issues that they're going to have to deal with. But doesn't Brady just cure all wounds? The guy is just stone cold. He's borderline miracle. He's amazing. We'll say that. Oh, by the way, yesterday he rung up another unbelievable stat game and may have strengthened his argument for an MVP. Anyway, they can cut, and you can't even say turn back the clock to 2017 because, oh, by the way, he threw for 400 yards. What is the Jonathan Gannon game plan against Tom Brady? Realistically, draw up 6 sacks. Yeah, that's a nice way to win the game. But realistically, what can Gannon throw at Brady this week?
I think you have to disguise. You can't declare right before the snap because I think if they just break the huddle and they stand where they're going to stand for like 15 seconds left on the play clock, Brady's just going to come up and go, oh, okay, I see you're doing this. I'm throwing to the hook seam or something like that. I think it's going to be one of those things where they're going to have to disguise a lot more. And we've heard Jonathan Gannon say he doesn't want to disguise just for the sake of disguising the defense because he's got a point there, especially when if you have Alex Singleton lining up on the left side, then he has to run all the way across the field to the right side to try to get to his own area. It's a little tough. It's tough on Singleton and the rest of the defenders you have to cycle around through. But the way thing you can do, it actually goes to, I think, a little bit towards offensively. You got to control the ball a lot more, run the ball more, basically
take the coin toss. Jody loves that. You win the coin toss,
Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
The Eagles won't do that, but they should.
I defer. Personally, I defer. Reason being because they start out so slow that it's almost like a wasted possession in a way.
But you want to play with confidence, Chris. And if you can start the game, say, with a 7-8 minute drive and score, that's your perfect scenario. You start to drain the clock. You start to play that ball control. But you're probably right. They're not going to do that. So I'm going to run this by you. Okay. So to me, this is a interior defensive line game. This is a Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave game. Either they make Tom Brady uncomfortable by getting that interior pressure. And it's not easy because Ryan Jensen, the Bucs center, is really good. Ali Marpet, Alex Kappa, their guards are really good. Those guys got to dominate inside. That's how the New York Giants beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. The Eagles managed to do it but in a shootout, but that's just pure luck. That ain't happening again. Interior pressure, right or wrong?
Oh, that's the right way, definitely. Because when you're a quarterback and you see 2 defensive tackles with the skill that Von Hargrave and Fletcher Cox have, and they can beat the inside of the Buccaneers line, which I think they're capable of doing. Not going to be easy, not going every time, but I think they're capable of doing. That makes it tough, not only just from the sight line, but the pressure. It speeds up the clock even more for Brady, whose clock is already quick. It's really tough. And I just look overall like that's where the game has to be. the game has to be won. I think you're going to need your second line of Milton Williams. You need him to step up as well too. I think he's done very well when it comes to basically doing the pass rush, showing the physical side of it from the interior part of the line. So if the three of them can somehow get that pressure, make it basically tough for that interior to handle, and they start to help out, so it basically shortens the path for the defensive ends to go. This game could be very close. I truly think this game's going to be close to begin anyway.
There were very few Eagles who on Saturday night against the Cowboys got passing grade, two of which were Milton Williams and Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah.
So my question to you, Chris Franklin, is will Kenneth Gainwell even be active Sunday against the Buccaneers?
I think he will. I truly think he will, because I think he'll be the kick returner
or running back.
Yeah, I think he'll be the kick returner again.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Be the kick returner.
Although I like Jason Huntley the way he returned kicks, I wish
he probably is. Jason Huntley probably is the best kick returner the Eagles have. But and maybe they. I can't imagine they would trust 5 running backs.
85.
I don't think Miles Sanders is going to play. Let's talk about that. It's tough, but broken hand, surgery, that's really quick. We'll get a better indication hopefully today, certainly by Wednesday. But what are your feelings on potentially seeing Miles Sanders for the first round of the playoffs?
I think he'll dress. I don't think we'll see the amount of carries that he usually has. And I think it's really going to be, I think we'll find it was already a committee, but I think it'll truly be a committee in the sense that we may see even amounts for Howard, for Scott, and for Sanders. And then I think you sprinkle in Gainwell on the passing and the passing and the no huddle sections. I think you'll see a lot more of that. And I think the biggest person who benefited from this week off probably may have been Jordan Howard with that stinger, because he just didn't look right.
No,
he just didn't look right against Washington, and I don't know if it was just one of those things where he was trying to get his timing back and everything was thrown off. But I think for the Eagles' sake, if they're going to attack that middle of the line, because if they're going to try to attack the middle of the line against Vita Vea, he's the guy to do it. I don't see Sanders doing it, and Sanders, I'm not putting him out there as much, even though he's a good player. I know he's explosive, but I'm not putting him out there as much with a hand injury, because that just screams of potential fumbles. Guys trying to, I know you can wrap it up as much as you can, but guys just trying to peanut punch it and just trying to overall just hit his hand and the ball drops on the ground. So I could see this being a game where you get that 1-2. I think he's still sprinkling in on Kenneth Gainwell and parts of that too.
All right, I'm going to give you a hypothetical here, Mr. Franklin, and I'm not suggesting this is what I'm predicting. It's purely a hypothetical for you to be able to get inside Nick Sirianni's head. I may predict this by Friday, but I'm not doing it today. We're mid-second quarter, somewhere thereabouts. The Eagles have rushed it 9 times for 25 yards. Because the Bucs are the third best rush defense in the NFL over the course of the season. You're down 10-0, not insurmountable, but you haven't advanced the ball even into field goal range for Mr. Elliott, because they've completely shut down your running game. Nick have the nerve to stick with it and just say, we'll wear them down over time. I got faith in my offensive line, no matter how good the defensive line for Tampa Bay is? Or does he say, yeah, we need to kind of score it? Because if we fall down 17 to Brady, we got no chance. What'll Nick Sirianni do if the Bucs early thwart the Eagle running game?
Well, if I'm wearing the Nick Sirianni visor right now, I'm looking at that play sheet, and I'm still looking at the run calls. I'm still going with that, because I think if you completely abandon the run and you just go with the passing game, I think you've already played right into the Bucs' hand, just becoming one-dimensional. The run has to be used as the body blow to set up the haymaker, which for them is the play action pass, which for them is the RPOs and everything else. So I think they have to still force the Bucs to honor the run, make them believe they're not going to throw, because I think overall, over time, I mean, you have Smith, you have Goddard, who else is getting open? Because I can see the Bucs trying to basically bracket, like I mentioned, the Eagles bracketing Gronkowski. I see the Bucs bracketing Goddard. I can see them trying potentially like basically shade the defense over towards Smith's side, and that's why it's going to be important for the Eagles to scheme ways for them to open up, to get open. But I think overall, if it's the second quarter, if it's 10-0, I think Sirianni tells a message. We've been here before, even though it was against Washington, even though against the Giants, they've been there before. We can come back from that. So we got to stick to what got. I can imagine his voice right now. We got to stick to doing what we have to do right now, and we're going to keep running the ball. And then something like I can imagine that just him going that right now. So I think they stick with the run in that situation there.
All right, Chris, I'm going to give you my own hypothetical. I'm delving into the Jody Mack pool. I'm trying to take down the king with this hypothetical.
Go for it.
Jalen Hurts, one of the silver linings of his ankle injury is, the running game has been curtailed and he's been forced to stay in the pocket. He's found ways to win games. If the Eagles find themselves down 2 possessions, can they come back against a high-powered team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Is it the first half or the second half?
First half. Say 14-0 right away.
Yeah,
I think they come back in that kind of game.
Yeah, I think they can. I think he's and I'll say this: he's done very well climbing the pocket a lot better. Now, would I like to see him use both hands on the ball when he's climbing it and not like basically taking it and palming it and going over like this while he's around there? I think he still could work on stuff like that, but I think he shows he can be a pocket passer per se if he needs to be. His vision's getting a little bit better as well too. Is he missing some receivers at times? Sure. Is it because of the read sometimes? Could be better at. I wish, if anything, I just wish he would get the ball. He anticipate when the routes will be open a little bit more, because I think he can get guys off their rate when they're breaking off the top of their routes and then hitting them a little bit more. But I think if they're down 2 possessions, sorry.
All right, Chris. So since you brought it up, you're Justin Herbert and the Chargers. What was the score of that game in the fourth quarter? You got to come back in that instance. Are they capable of doing that? What was it, 28? What was the score?
Was it 29-22 or something like that? Or
28-17?
Something like that,
2 possessions.
Yeah, it was
early
2
in the
possessions.
fourth.
Early in the fourth quarter. So you're down 2 possessions early in the fourth quarter. I think it was 11 points. Can they come back in that environment?
I think they could. I'm not. If anything, I'm more worried about if he has to throw it, say, to like if everybody's covered up and he has to throw it to say Rager or somebody like that. He's the only one open.
That's part of the problem, yeah.
Because the Chargers were dropping a lot of those passes too.
Yeah, they were.
And it was like that one. But I think, given what we've seen of him this year in similar situations, and times, and just looking back at his college career and everything else, it just seems like something clicks in the fourth quarter with him. It just seems a little bit better as well too, especially early on when you look at the earlier Tampa Bay game. Now, granted, Tampa Bay was basically playing a different defense at the time. After that, when you look at the Kansas City game, a lot of these games he's put them in positions where they look like they have a chance to either tie it up or go ahead late. So I wouldn't put it past him to do something similar, especially with the way he's able to make plays with his legs and keep plays alive. I wouldn't put it past him that he could do something similar.
Chargers were down 29-14 with 8 and change to play last night. That's pretty damn good comeback.
Yeah.
I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. I don't know if he's got that in him to rally the team from down 15 with 8 and change to play. Yeah, we shall see. All right, the prediction for you, not on who's going to win the game. Tampa's got a pretty good home field advantage. I've been in that stadium and for a Bucs game, and they support their hometown team pretty well. And if anything, it's ratcheted up since they got the Brady guy. I was in there when the Bucs were only okay, and they sold out the joint. Now they're the defending Super Bowl champions. The Eagle fans travel as well as almost any team. Pittsburgh is a great national team. The Raiders are a great national team. The Patriots have become a great national team. I'll put the Eagle fans with any of those other fan bases, specifically when it comes to traveling. They're going to be able to get anybody in the house in Tampa. They don't give up their seats.
I think it's very interesting you mentioned that, because I was booking my travel last night and I went away from the computer just for a little bit. I came back to look at the ticket and it bumped up. So I think there's a lot of people trying to get a lot of tickets to go down there and watch this game. I think it might be 65-35, maybe 60-40 Bucks
Really?
Buccaneers are still have home field fit, but I
you think
they're
the
able
Eagle
to.
fans are going to be able to get 40% of the stadium?
They're going to get in that
Yeah.
building.
And there's a
They're gonna
lot
get
of
in.
people from
There's
Florida that live
certain-
down there too.
Yeah, there's certain buildings you can't get in.
That's true. Philly fans are living over in Clearwater.
Yeah.
That is a good Philadelphia South area down on the Gold Coast. Maybe you're right. Maybe it will be 64. I was going to say, are they going to be able to get it to 75-25? 60-40 would be a pretty impressive split.
There's going to be more Eagles fans than you think, Jody. I don't know how they do it, but they find a way to do it.
I know. That's why I just finished saying that I'll put them with any other fan base in football.
Now, they're not getting in Green Bay. Well, they're probably not going to have to go to Green Bay, but they're not getting in there. But
they'll get the cousin to stand outside the Buccaneers stuff. They'll get the cousins who are down in Florida and say, "Oh, hey, pick me a couple of things, and I'll bring you something up. I'll bring a couple of tasty cakes from up north as a thank you or something like that." With that.
And you don't even have. You can go to Wawa down there now. Plenty of Wawa.
Yeah.
We're going to feel right at home if we can get a flight. I got to get a flight this morning, by the way.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. Hopefully, they're adding flights. All right, last one from me, Chris. Read Chris Franklin, NJ.com. Does a phenomenal job covering this team, and he will do to the end. Hopefully, that is not Sunday in Tampa Bay. And by the way, Sunday at 1:00. Thank you, NFL.
Yes. I was worried.
Thank you. I was worried about Monday night. Thank you.
I was worried about Saturday at 4:30. I'm like, please don't let this be this game. Please don't. But thankfully not.
I'm with you. I was worried about Saturday at 8:30 again. I don't want that night.
No more.
Anyway,
no more.
Nick Sirianni, only rookie head coach. We're talking about Black Monday today as coaches. As we're on here, Mike Zimmer, Ryan Pace, Brian Flores. Anybody else, Jody? Who am I missing?
Matt Nagy?
Matt Nagy. Pace, the GM, is out. Looks
and
like
Fangio
Chris Greer
yesterday.
Yeah, looks like Chris Greer is staying in Miami. Nick Sirianni, last year's hiring cycle, one guy, Brandon Staley, almost got there, but wasn't able to do it. Does he deserve Coach of the Year votes, Nick Sirianni?
Ooh. I think he deserves votes, yeah. I definitely wholeheartedly think he does. I think he's done a great job, especially compared to the expectations that were placed on his team. I think he's did a great job getting the veterans to buy in as well, too. I wouldn't be surprised if he's top 3. I still look at, say, probably
Matt LaFleur.
Well, LaFleur, I think Belichick, especially with having Mac Jones and that team, and at least getting him into the last day of the season for the AFC East title, I think he's done very well. Zach Taylor, I think, to take the Bengals too. You have a rookie wide receiver, a second-year quarterback who's coming off an ACL tear, and to play as well as they have and win the North, that's historically very tough to win. I think he's, I think Sirianni finishes 4th. I think LaFleur is going to be up there. Belichick's going to be up there. Taylor's going to be up there. Sirianni's going to finish 4th, but it's going to be.
You forgot one guy, Bud, and he may actually win. I'd vote LaFleur 1, but number 2 for me would be Vrabel. He's done a.
That's not bad too, yeah. Especially without Derrick Henry, yeah.
Before the year started, I think he's got to get some consideration.
My ballot always says Belichick every single year, except last year.
Last year?
No, except
okay. Yeah, and almost every single almost every single time we bring him on, Chris Franklin delivers, and he did so again today. Thank you, sir. Have a good time down in Tampa. Stay away from McMullen in the press box. I know he keeps testing negative, but one of these days, something's going to catch up with him.
You are trying to jinx me, man.
It's tough. I kid you not. It's tough darting this thing left and right. It's that 30-minute waiting for the test to come through is the most nerve-wracking. Like, please don't. All right, I'm out. All right, cool. Everybody runs this side.
And Howie Roseman outfoxes the NFL, but he can't help you guys any by getting the COVID protocol changed for the writers.
Oh my God, COVID list. Imagine COVID list for
McMullen's
reporters.
got him, I think, the number 1 GM in football. I know he's top 5. I think he's moving toward 1, as a matter of fact. What's Howie doing for you, Johnny Mac?
Nothing.
You got to take that test and sweat it out every single week.
Unbeknownst to some other people, he's doing nothing for me.
Exactly. Chris, thanks, buddy. Always a pleasure. We'll get you on again. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one now.
Thanks,
Chris
Chris.
Franklin, NJ.com, here with us on Birds 365. All right, we got to come back, put a bow on the show. You're listening to Birds 365 here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe now.